back to WCS Season 2. I don't know what that was about. Just ignore that. That was fine. Welcome back to the Season 2 finals. Unfortunately, it seems like the Artosis curse doesn't just affect players. It's also having an effect on some technical equipment. Luckily, it's been fixed, though. And, of course, I am maligning him. So it's time to go over to your commentary team for game number 3. It's Rotterdam and Artosis.
Thank you so much, Red Eye. You are too kind. All right, we have everything fixed. It's ready, Rotterdam. We're about to watch an amazing PvP. Well, I hope it's going to be amazing, but so far, duckdeok has been killing NaNiwa. He's up 5-1 in WCS this season alone in PvP games.
Yep, and we all say that PvP can be random every now and then, but 5-1, that is pretty decisive. But if you analyze the games, sometimes score doesn't really matter. You have to look at how we got to that score. When we watched in the regular season of WCS Season 2 Europe, you saw duckdeok being very aggressive, NaNiwa trying to be aggressive in his own way by proxying Stargate, and just not being ready to defend against those straight-up gateway units. Apparently yesterday, the complete opposite happened. We were not able to watch those games because we were casting over here, but apparently duckdeok went Nexus first in one of the games in PvP line. That's bizarre.
I tell you, it's Nexus first, man. We don't see that very often, but we'll see what duckdeok has planned today. He's really mixing it up a lot against NaNiwa. I feel like he might be inside NaNiwa's head at this point.
NaNiwa felt really confident though. I spoke to him yesterday after he beat Innovation, and of course he was on an all-time high. I've really seen him smile that big. Like he's just like oh, I'm gonna win tomorrow. I'm gonna win tomorrow. He's like, I'm so sure. He's like, it's not gonna happen again.
Nice.
We will see. I think the vetoes are going to be very important actually, certainly because we know that duckdeok likes to be aggressive, and apparently yesterday he did the complete opposite. But NaNiwa by now should have a much better read on him.
Well, it looks like duckdeok took out Newkirk Precinct, where NaNiwa took out Neoplanet S. What do you think about that?
Actually kind of surprising, both choices. I think that I kind of had Neoplanet S in my mind as a map that NaNiwa would be pretty good at in PvP. I must say it's really hard to rate Nani's PvP. In general, he says that he's not that comfortable in it, and that it's definitely not his strongest matchup. But he's been in Korea for a long time, he's been practicing a lot. NaNiwa is not one of those players that streams a lot. Of course, he loves the ad revenue as well, but NaNiwa gives priority to tournaments like this. And he said, you know what, I'd rather miss those few dollars, but I'd rather shine at the moments where it truly matters. And people don't know how I'm going to play, and well, I think that's safe to say. Because I have no idea how he's going to play.
I have no idea the builds he's going to take out, but if we take a look at these vetoes, right, like for duckdeok taking out Newkirk and Star Station, I feel like he's taking out maps where Stargate's going to be good.
Yep, I totally agree with you.
So if he's taking out maps specifically where Stargate's going to be strong, he might be doing builds that are going to be a little bit weak against Stargate. Do you think we might see like some 1 or 2 gateway expands into Robo or something like that?
That would be quite something, but I mean, I totally agree with you. Newkirk is a really, really good map to go Stargate on, and NaNiwa is also a player that likes to go Stargate, whether it's a proxy Stargate or not. Now we're left with Eklund, Bel'shir, and Derelict. Derelict, I would say, is a pretty good Blink Stalker map. That's not a map where you want to open up straight Stargate. It's not impossible if you think that your opponent is going Robo Expense, which can be good against Blink Stalker, the good old cycle of life in PvP. You know, it's all going to come down to mind games, and above all, how often is NaNiwa going to scout? Because NaNiwa told me yesterday, duckdeok went Nexus first because he knew I was not going to scout on that map. That's definitely not going to happen again.
Well, I do hope that NaNiwa scouts him out and we get some longer PvPs, get into that macro game type scenario. But I'm trying to think, because these map vetoes are so interesting to me. The Neoplanet S, I have to agree with you. Like, I feel like that could have been a good NaNiwa map, but at the same time, it's definitely a map you can be very aggressive on, and things can go wrong if, for instance, you scout down the wrong path at the wrong time, and they're coming, you know, you can get into some really weird situations. So I feel like both players trying to make it maybe less random.
And we're actually going to see Derelict for sure as it's map number 2, and I think that's very fun because I haven't seen too many very high level PvPs yet on the map. What I think we're going to see from NaNiwa is not very aggressive but not very defensive either. I would think pretty much guaranteed a 2-gate opening, maybe into a Robo, or maybe just a 2-gate some aggression and see what's going on, and then I'll decide whether I drop a Twilight, whether I drop a Stargate, because you can drop those buildings a little bit later. If it's the right tech route, you're still fine with it. Even if your Phoenixes are a minute later, if you're still going to get Phoenixes against a 1-base Robo opening, well, you know, it's still good, even if they're a little bit later.
Oh, absolutely. That is so true. So we'll see what NaNiwa actually has planned for that. If we take a look at his stats, he's got, well, his lowest is against Protoss, but 68% is like absolutely insanely good. We can see also he hasn't played many Protosses, and it's mostly just duckdeok killing him here.
that's why it's so random to predict, like, how is NaNiwa going to play? He doesn't stream that often. He hasn't played too many PvPs in WCS. The other tournaments, he did manage to take out Deer at MLG back then. That was a really big victory. But yeah, as silly as it sounds, 2 months ago PvP, that doesn't mean anything. Like, you see these guys switch up their playstyles all the time, and above all, you don't want to be predictable in this matchup. That's just the last thing you want to do.
That is very true, Rotterdam. And in fact, what you said about the 2 months ago, it's so true as well, because it changes so quickly, PvP. It's always rotating around, and new metagames are coming out and whatnot. Well,
81% against Protoss, that's pretty insane.
That's mostly games against NaNiwa.
Well, he was able to overcome Grubby as well, defeat MC in the final back then, but all really close series, 3-2, 4-3. You know, if I would play against duckdeok, I would go for a double gate opening, because I know that he loves to be aggressive on either 2-gate with a tech behind it, or just a straight up 3-gate. And, you know, not super low economy, 2 Vespian geysers, but also a pretty serious commitment. A commitment as in the fact that he's going to have to deal damage with it, otherwise he's just going to fall behind, because 3-gate, you know, that does slow your tech down quite a bit.
You know, if you do open up with just a 2-gate, you can even pressure, expand, get your robo afterwards. It's pretty safe. There's not a build that just kills it. It kind of comes down to execution on both sides, so wouldn't be a bad choice for sure.
It's some guaranteed map control early on, and even if you say, hey, wait a minute, he's opening 3-gates. 3-gates has a little less units than 2-gates very early on, but more units as soon as the first warping kicks in, or as soon as the first full rotation kicks in. But if you already have units out on the map back then you know what's coming. Map vision is everything in PvP, certainly when you play against an aggressive player.
Well, we're getting into the game now. The first map, Bel'shir Vestige. We'll be talking about that in just a moment.
Such a big series for NaNiwa. NaNiwa has been so successful ever since he joined the Alliance. It really seems to be a team that gives him a lot of confidence, gives him a peaceful state of mind, and he's only able to focus on the game, and he's been nothing but fantastic the last few months.
He certainly has. Well, let's take a look up here in the top left. The man who is leading this so far, 5-1 against his opponent. It is MVP's duckdeok. And in the bottom right, the Protoss player, the foreigner hope from the Alliance, it is NaNiwa.
And I am pumped, Hartosis.
Oh man, seriously, this is, can NaNiwa finally turn this around? Because you know what, those other ones were important, but this actually turns out to be the more important match than the ones that he's lost already. He needs to get into this round of 8. He needs a lot of WCS points, or he's not going to be going to BlizzCon.
That is true, but he's been collecting quite a few points here and there with all of his successful runs in multiple tournaments. But above all, if you talk about momentum, we often talk about momentum in tournaments like this. That is so important. duckdeok comes off of a loss. NaNiwa comes off a 2-0 victory over Innovation. Like, then you're flying sky high, and then you think that, all right, if I'm able to defeat the Innovation 2-0, this time I am going to defeat duckdeok.
No doubt about that, but well, NaNiwa actually going for a late second gas, it looks like here. We'll see if he grabs it right after the core, or maybe he's going to do a little pressure opening, and oh my god, still, okay, there it is, there it is.
Interesting build order. Don't really see that too often anymore.
It's kind of a late one. I'm trying to think in my head what this would be. I know a couple Blink builds that use a little bit slower gas like that. It's not very popular, but I guess we'll see in a minute what his plans are.
I like that he's scouting though. NaNiwa's sending out that also important probe right now, and he's going to actually high-five the probe of duckdeok in the middle of the map.
It was like more of a chest bump, but yeah.
Jumping up. Or maybe they're shooting lasers at each other, like Buzz.
They only have particle beams. Well, we actually have both players scouting at the exact same time here. A chrono boost on that stalker, all very standard. As that stalker pops out, I'm sure we're going to see exactly what tech that NaNiwa is going to be going for.
I mean, one point, NaNiwa is opening a little bit risky. Like, okay, this is not the end of the world, of course, but he skipped the Zealot. He's opening up with a stalker, but this is of one gate. He has no second gate behind this. So after this, he's almost forced to get a sentry, unless he suddenly throws down 2 additional gates, and he is the one going for 3-gate pressure. But he's not. It's a 1-gate Stargate with a 1-stalker opening. He's not going to have much map vision. This probe that he has out on the map is going to be super important. I doubt he's going to send it back to his base. He wants to keep it out on the map.
But you know what? That stalker actually got the probe that was over there too, so he's going to be feeling a lot better than he could have been. I think, you know, duckdeok was trying to verify exactly what unit was going to be popping out there. Was it going to be a sentry for a fast expansion? Was it going to be a stalker and something else? But in the meantime, duckdeok has sent out his second probe. He is sending his mothership core down across the map, kind of in a scouting pattern, but with the 2 gateways, he definitely can put some pressure on.
He's also wiping in the 3rd gate right now, so once more we're going to see some serious aggression here from duckdeok. NaNiwa is opening with an Oracle. This can be really good news, this can be really bad news. If this Oracle makes it across the map while he's defending his base, he's going to have a really good time. Even if duckdeok wipes in 3 stalkers, by the time he sees it, he's still going to get 5, 6, 7 probe kills guaranteed, and NaNiwa is going to be in a fantastic position. But it's still going to be risky. NaNiwa, how many sentries does he have? Not a single one, and he's going to have to defend against 3 gate.
Well, you know, he does have that mothership core. He has a zealot and a stalker out so far, and he will have 3 gates, so he might, with some nice micro, be able to hold that ramp, be able to slow this attack down. And as you said, Rotterdam, if he just, the Oracle just flew by a pylon.
Yeah, that's fine. Being so important for duckdeok. duckdeok getting a lot of damage done on this stalker as well. NaNiwa once more finds himself in a really dicey position. Don't lose your mothership core, both an overcharge.
No, 99, and he gets it off. But loses the mothership core. That's a huge loss in the early game in PvP.
duckdeok already whopping in 3 defensive stalkers, so he has 3 stalkers at home right now. This Oracle is not going to be able to do all that much. duckdeok pretty much in control of this game so far.
Oh man, everything going wrong for NaNiwa so far, and the Oracle actually almost died there even. Really painful. I don't know how much damage he's going to be able to get done with it overall.
This is really interesting as well. NaNiwa already having 1 Void Ray, 2nd Void Ray in production. He's relying on those Void Rays to defend right now, but normally you don't want to be making Void Rays when you're a 1-base Protoss player.
No, certainly not. They are so expensive. You can't go Void Ray and keep up 3 gateway production at this point, so it's pretty painful. But if he can maybe trap a couple stalkers on the high ground, it won't be too hard for him to retake his low ground.
The work account shows us right now 26 probes against 26 probes, so in that regard it's kind of even, but I have to like duckdeok stack route a lot more right now. These Void Rays can be good, but of 1 base you're just not going to get that massive army that you can really protect those Void Rays. And Void Rays are awesome, but the moment they're like out in the open and they're exposed, they can fall really quickly as well.
And he's even getting his own Twilight, and that's something that I really like to see as well, because if there's a big committal to Void Rays, you're definitely going to want to get at least Blink or, you know, maybe tech up a little bit further. And so NaNiwa now, this is that terribly hard situation where you're stuck up your ramp.
This is nice though. He's going to get 3 zealots over here, and the Oracle is going to fly in as well from the south side. I love this by NaNiwa. Oh my god, he's dealing massive damage right now and forcing a recall.
Well, that's really good, because now he gets to go down to that low ground, and he might actually get his Nexus up at the same time, or even before duckdeok, which is exactly what duckdeok was trying to stop.
And above all, NaNiwa can actually do something different right now than sitting on 1 base Stargate. Going for a Nexus is a little bit risky though. We see that he does want to do it. He's going to be able to get that pylon as well. He's going to supply block duckdeok. This is pretty sweet for NaNiwa. Those 3 zealots, that kind of changed the pace of the game. Before that, everything was kind of going duckdeok's way. Now NaNiwa is fighting back, but I wouldn't say that he's that far ahead yet. Also, he doesn't have a mothership core. So going for an expand right now when you don't have photon overcharge against a Blink Stalker player, that's pretty risky.
Yeah, it definitely can be. You know, he is making a lot of Void Rays though, and he already has 4 out with 7 Zealots. So if he micros this all right, he also has those 2 sentries. He can make a situation where the Stalkers are having a very hard time actually engaging those Void Rays, and if they do try to blink in, the Zealots are going to kill him. So his army is very good. I would be a little bit scared of that army right now as duckdeok.
That is true. It all comes down to micro. It all comes down to the engagement. If NaNiwa brings the fight to duckdeok and the Stalkers are forced to stand there, as then they start fighting Void Rays, that's really bad. If duckdeok can get a rolling fight where he can get a lot of free shots off, it would be a lot better. But it seems like NaNiwa is just going to knock on the front door of duckdeok, and these Void Rays are going to have crazy amounts of DPS on these Stalkers.
And look at how many Zealots there are in here. A lot of force fields will be cast this fight no matter what. And in fact, he starts catching a few units, kills a few off, but loses a couple. No, might not lose those 2 Zealots.
Oh my god, and Blink isn't even ready yet. NaNiwa is at 58 army supply right now against 37. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, that is a huge army right now, and here we go. He is moving in. It looks like he may just target this down using some force fields, saying, hey, go ahead, blink in, and it looks like he will kill the Nexus.
Wow, what a beautiful pickup here by NaNiwa. What a beautiful push. Such a weird PvP this has been, but it's really going NaNiwa's way right now. Look at that.
Nice play by NaNiwa, picking up a victory against duckdeok, someone who's had his number so far.
Those 3 Zealots then.
Those 3 Zealots, they changed absolutely everything. When your opponent is sitting at the bottom of your ramp with that many Stalkers, with a sentry, you just can't come down. You just sit there, and you need to find a way down. But that one pylon he had out on the map really saved him.
It really did. A beautiful play there, and that must feel so good as well, because NaNiwa knows that this game did not start out all that well for him, but suddenly it changed, and you're getting a victory where, on the moment, he probably felt pretty frustrated already, like, all right, I'm stuck in my base, I'm producing Void Rays of one base, I can't really run down, I can't just fly out with my Void Rays either, because they're too slow for that. That's a nice comeback, and that's a really nice victory.
I've seen many pro gamers lose heart in situations that were even better than what he was in, where even when the Oracle did nothing, he lost the Mothership Core right after the overcharge. That was a tough spot, but you know what, that Oracle, actually, that ended up being why the recall had to occur. So really smart moves by NaNiwa to pull that off, and I do like that he didn't get the Nexus. Instead, he's like, you know what, no, I'm just going all in with this. I should have enough units.
And I like as well that he used that Oracle the first time and he didn't suicide it. Like, he's all right, he could have killed 4 pros maybe despite those Stalkers there, but that would have been it. Now he kept it alive, and with those Zealots, that Oracle was actually so much more useful. As you said as well, force that recall. That's a really nice first game for Nani, and we're getting close to at least having one foreigner in the top 8 here, which would be the first time in the WCS season finals.
That's true, actually. Very true indeed. And, well, Scarlet, we'll see if she can do it against Maru next as well, but NaNiwa still has to win a game, and duckdeok has shown us in the past that he knows how to kill NaNiwa, and that game almost went completely in his favor. If there wasn't that proxy pylon out on the map, I think duckdeok has a very good chance of winning that last game.
I totally agree, but once more, what a funky opening by duckdeok. It's 2 gates for a long time, and then the moment when you expect him to drop some tech, he actually drops the 3rd gate, and he really commits to his pressure, and you know, that looked very scary already, certainly when he was able to snipe that Mothership Core. That was so close, by the way, with that photon overcharge. If NaNiwa is not able to drop the photon overcharge on that moment, it might have actually been game over straight away.
duckdeok looking maybe a little bit frustrated there. NaNiwa, on the other hand, as intense as ever. He knows he just needs to get one more win here, and he gets the rematch against Jaedong. What a game that would be.
That series they played at DreamHack back then, that was so sick.
It was
last game on the Star Station.
One of the best series, one of the best games that I've seen in a very long time, Rotterdam.
Me too. I am really stoked, and certainly because the second map is Derelict Watcher. Once more, such a strange map to play such an important game on. It's been in the map pool for quite a while, and you know, you get your ladder games on it, but you're still like not sure, like, oh, how should I open? Is one gate, fast expanding, good option here? Should I go Stargate? Nah, it's not a very good map for Stargate. There's not too much airspace. But what if he goes one gate Robo? Then Stargate is pretty good, but it's also a really good map for Blink Stalkers. There are not many maps like this anymore, where there is so much surface area to blink into the main base.
It's very true, and let's not forget that main base is actually huge, so if we do get into the mid game and the late game, Warp Prisms become ridiculous here. It's so hard to defend against them. They have so much area to fly into.
Or even those little 4-stalker hit squads, which can be really useful because the base is so big. You blink into the main, and blink will be on cooldown, so you can blink behind the minerals once more and get 7, 8, 9 probe kills. I would love to see either of these two players open up with Blink Stalkers.
Well, I don't think that's what we're going to see here, Rotterdam, but we'll get... That's because I can already see what's happening in this game, and it's crazy, guys. Down here in the bottom left, the man that is proxy gating, it is duckdeok. And up in the top right, will he be able to scout this out? It is NaNiwa.
Now, Nani did scout in the previous game, but it was a pretty late scout. It wasn't immediately.
Yeah, it was a late scout, but he scouted early inside of his main base.
Okay, I did.
So he checked his main base for proxy gates, and if they're in the natural, you have a better chance of holding the rush when you tech, but it's not a given.
It's an 11 gate for NaNiwa.
Oh,
that is so good for him right now. That's the best thing that could have ever happened to him.
Yeah, this is actually fantastic for NaNiwa that he's done this. If he had gone for a regular 13 gate, you know, and double gas, that type of play, he would have been in a terrible spot against this build.
Now, there are builds with 11 gate where you don't make a Zealot, as silly as that sounds, but you can get 3 Stalkers out really early on. I actually really like to play like that. NaNiwa is sending out this probe.
Oh my god.
And he's getting so close, and he's going to find it. This is fantastic for NaNiwa.
What kind of star sense does this man have that he went down and just found that? duckdeok is in a lot of trouble against an 11 gate. I mean, the gateway of NaNiwa is actually quicker than duckdeok's.
He can just chrono boost out Zealots, and he's going to be more than fine. He's going to be able to clear this up eventually, and he's going to find himself in a fantastic position.
Well, you know what? DuckDeok is getting a gas behind this, so he's planning on going up into Stalker, but the thing is you're like completely right. There's just no way to break NaNiwa here. You're not really going to do damage, and you're eventually losing that gateway.
NaNiwa is kind of keeping his probe alive as well, seeing if his opponent is making a Zealot or going straight into Stalker. It's going to be Zealot into Stalker. This is kind of the build that Crank used twice, actually, against Huck in WCS America in round of 32, I think, yes.
This is... what does DuckDeok do here, Rotterdam? This is such a bad spot. He just started his cybernetic score, so the amount he's behind is hard to even explain.
I mean, it's all going to come down to if NaNiwa is going to underreact or overreact, but there's no reason ever to underreact against this. He has to keep chrono boosting, and as long as NaNiwa keeps doing the exact same thing as DuckDeok, and this is very important, as long as he keeps doing the exact same thing, he is going to be ahead. And look at this, by the way, he's doing this at home.
Well, I mean, a gateway and a core, I guess he realizes, of course, Zealots aren't going to be the key to victory, and that gateway over there isn't going to last very much longer. In fact, going down for that pylon right now.
I must say, I really like this position by DuckDeok, or this decision by DuckDeok, actually. He realized that, okay, this did not go the way that I wanted. I can still try, but most likely I'm going to lose, or I'm going to fight an uphill battle, but at least I'm still going to have some sort of a shot in being able to win this game, because NaNiwa did not open in the most economic way possible either. I mean, it was an 11 gate. He obviously stopped producing probes for a little bit after he realized what he was playing against. The work account is completely even. It's still good for NaNiwa, because he's going to get a gateway kill, he's going to take out that pylon, but it is a position where you can still make something happen if you're DuckDeok.
That is true. We'll see if he can get it done, though. I mean, if I'm NaNiwa in this position, I'm just loving it, because even if you do have that same probe count, you know, my warp gate's going to be a little bit quicker. I have a better unit count. I've killed a couple buildings off. I feel like he has complete map control and everything here.
It's actually not a little bit quicker. It's like 60 seconds quicker. that can be 2 warp gate rotations. It would be absolutely fantastic. DuckDeok is going to scout right now. He might be able to see all the gates of NaNiwa, but there's already a pylon, or there's already a probe from NaNiwa in the natural of DuckDeok. There goes the
How do you stop this? This is going to be so difficult. He does have a mothership core, but it's not going to have photon overcharge for when this battle hits. The game is going to be decided before then, I do think.
And there are no sentries either, so it's not like he can just hold his ramp. Warp gate technology is done for NaNiwa. He's going to get his warp in here, and DuckDeok is going to have to retreat.
He's running up that ramp right now. His warp gate almost done here. Another gateway finishing as well, but I don't think it's going to be enough. These stalkers of NaNiwa pushing forward. DuckDeok is in so much trouble.
There is not going to be a photon overcharge. The mothership core will fall, and from this point on, it's just micro heaven for NaNiwa. He can run around all day. He is going to have more units. There is that uphill advantage, but he's dealing so much economic damage already.
That's right. These probes not mining is enough damage, but he's also killing quite a few of them. He's killed 6 probes so far this game.
That's good. Stalker count was actually pretty reasonable for DuckDeok there. He bought a lot of time for himself. I think the mothership core is flying into the main base right now. That's NaNiwa's mothership core. Nani has to be a little bit careful. He did a lot of economic damage. This is great. As long as he keeps forcing in warp ins, this is good for him because he's mining more money than his opponent. But he cannot take a horrible fight where he suddenly loses big time.
Oh, exactly. But look at that. A nice time warp does go down. It's going to give NaNiwa a temporary advantage. And those Zealots just doing a great job, doing so much damage, tanking so much. And this might be it, Rotterdam.
4 Stalkers still alive against the 3 Stalkers from DuckDeok right now. NaNiwa is going to just back off for a little bit once more. He can get an additional warp in soon. That was a beautiful time warp, and that really gave NaNiwa a massive advantage. NaNiwa is going to do this then.
He's going to do it, Rotterdam. This is absolutely amazing. Pushing forward with his Stalkers. I don't care how good your micro is, DuckDeok. There's just too big a differential.
7 Stalkers for NaNiwa, and NaNiwa is going to advance to the WCS round of 8 here, the very first foreigner to do so at the season finals.
Amazing. You can see how happy he is. DuckDeok had his number for so long, 5-1 before this series. But you know what? When it mattered, NaNiwa won. Give it up for NaNiwa! Pretty awesome play there, Rotterdam. And this, of course, means, everybody, that later today start passing the word around the internet. Jaedong against NaNiwa.
I'm not sure if I'm ready.
You're not ready. Nobody's ready. But people have to start preparing now and do the best they can.
We got a little bit of time to prepare ourselves. There we can see Dr. This is the second WCS champion that has fallen already, by the way, this season.
Oh my God.
We saw Paul.
Maru might in the next one, too.
I know. This is bizarre.
That would be wild if all 3 just go right out. And
even the WCS Season 1 champion has fallen already as well.
Yeah.
Innovation, of course, yesterday. Champions are falling left and right.
They are. It's time for a new champion, I guess, Rotterdam. Could NaNiwa do it?
That Nani cheer. Of course he can. It's NaNiwa.
Of course, that's true. He can do anything he puts his mind to. Amazing play there. I'm so stoked for his next round.
I loved it. I would really like to understand why he made an 11 gate on Derelict. Like, I kind of wonder where he was going with that. Maybe he wanted to be aggressive on the map because he felt that his opponent was going to play defensive or maybe a little bit greedy, 1 gate into tech. Nani going for the 11 gate in the best scenario or the best moment that could have ever happened to him.
Certainly it was, and just scouting in that natural was so nice as well because, you know, in the previous game, he didn't really scout the natural until a lot later. He scouted inside his main base and then left a little bit later, but seeing that allowed him to chrono boost out the Zealots and just be ridiculously safe.
I think it's amazing. He just keeps doing it. NaNiwa is just being such a consistent performer right now, and, you know, that 4 in the torch, it's still alive.
It certainly is. Well, let's go ahead and have an interview now with NaNiwa. Chopra, take it away.
We are here with none other than the winner of this last match. It's going to be NaNiwa. Give him a big round of applause, guys. Fighting through and finally breaking this series against duckdeok and taking that win he's wanted for so long. I'm just going to ask straight up, how do you feel beating duckdeok now in that elimination match?
Well, I don't feel anything special about like him, but I never expected to beat Innovation, but I just wanted to believe in myself for once, and I just let go of everything else, like logic and statistics and so on, so I'm very, very happy.
Well, congratulations. You know, you're quite the wanted man now, because now you've taken out both the reigning WCS champion and the WCS EU champion for this season. So you've taken out 2 of possibly the best players that were in this tournament, and now you're moving on to the round of 8, and let's just jump right to it. Going up against Jaydong, and this is a match I think everyone's really excited to watch. What do you think about this matchup?
I beat him 2-1 and 2-0 the last time I met him, so I'm going to make it 2-0 or 3-0 depending on what it is.
3-0. NaNiwa saying 3-0 against Jaydong. Are you guys excited to watch that match? I mean, coming up later today in this round of 8, wow. What a trip you've had, taking down Innovation and duckdeok. Let's talk about the game just a little bit. Now, game 1, duckdeok, both games he showed aggression, but game 1 he was a little bit more successful with his aggression, and you were able to hold off, you know, keep it cool, and say, I'm going to play it out. I'm going to play to the very end. What was going through your mind when you lost your mothership core?
I was very relieved that I got the cannon off, because it was really close, like 2 more shots and I would have probably lost the game straight there. But I got the cannon off, and then my probe slid into his base at the same time, and I saw exactly his build, and I knew that my build was pretty good against his, so I felt very relieved at that point, and I knew I would have a good chance to win.
All right, and of course game 2, scouted that proxy gate, and did you know just right from there that you had won the game?
To be honest, I was going for my own cheese, but I scouted his cheese first. Basically, when I saw it, I was obviously very thrilled, but you can't let emotions get to you before you see the screen saying you won the game, right? So I just kept cool, but I knew exactly what to do. Like, his core would be a lot later than mine, so I could like make damage on him, and I was for sure going to be in a good spot, and it turned out very well, as you saw.
So we already talked about your upcoming quarterfinal against Jaydong. You said I'll 3-0 him, but send a direct message to Jaydong. What do you want to say to him right now before you guys have to play?
I don't know how much I dare to say, since I might have to be with him in Korea again. So, I don't know. I hope he will give me this gift once more. I want to move on in the tournament.
All right, well, once again, give a big round of applause to NaNiwa, the man who took down both Innovation and duckdeok, and now to break down these brilliant 2 matches, we're going to throw it over to Todd.
Welcome back to the Analysis Monitor. What a great series we just saw. Europa outstands, NaNiwa did it, and I want to go back to the first game of this series. In the second game, it was very clear what was going to happen once NaNiwa scouted in my mind. I knew he was going to hold quite comfortably. In the end, he was able to. In the first game, though, lots of interesting things happened. Going to this series, NaNiwa felt like he was going to be the aggressor. Having faced such greedy builds the first time that he played against duckdeok, I really thought he was going to be the one doing the 3-gate aggression, but somehow duckdeok chose to mix it up, and he's the one who went for the 3-gate aggression against NaNiwa's target. NaNiwa's reaction was perfect. He started getting Void Race, he stayed up his ramp, he used the first photon overcharge just before losing his Mothership core. If this hadn't happened, he would have lost the game instantly. And he was building up his Void Ray count, and now he does something that's really, really smart. That's the game-winning move right there. He warps 3 Zealots across the map. There is 2 Stalkers in the main base of duckdeok over there. Actually just 1. Waiting for the Oracle to get in there and start doing damage to probes. So he's basically in a defensive posture here. And the Oracle, he needs some help from those Zealots to help tank some damage, to help kill some probes. So that's exactly what NaNiwa is going to do. He's going to send those Zealots in there. In the meantime, he's keeping a close eye back at home against a potential attack. In which case, he would just force field, split this army completely and crush it. And we can look at the Zealots. They're going to get in the main. They're going to tank perfectly the damage from the Stalkers for a little bit of time, during which the Oracle is going to start getting some kills. You see duckdeok reacts immediately with the Zealot. He knows, at this point he knows that the Oracle is going to fly in there. So he reacts very, very quickly. But now probes are starting to die. And I mean, even killing 5 or 6 probes here makes a huge difference. We can look at the worker count at the end of this aggression. It's going to be favoring NaNiwa quite heavily. 27-22 is a big deal at this point in the game. So NaNiwa, although he loses his Oracle and his Zealots, he forces a recall as well. And then from there, NaNiwa, did he actually see the Twilight Council? I'm not sure. Yeah, he had seen it, so he knew exactly what was going to come. He knows that the Twilight Council just finished. In 170 seconds, Blink is going to be done. And if duckdeok can get enough Stalkers, this target tech is going to get worse and worse. So he chooses to start a 4th Void Ray, which is just now finished. And now I actually thought that NaNiwa was going to expand. And he's like, no, I'm not going to expand. I'm going to do a timing with lots of Zealots to tank for the Void Ray to do damage. Against which, if you're a duckdeok, it's almost impossible to micro well enough to hold this. So just fast forward to just before NaNiwa goes for the final attack. You know, duckdeok, he knows this is coming too. He saw with his observer there was no second base started by NaNiwa. So he knows this is coming now. He chose not to cancel his Nexus because he wants that photon overcharge, but the only unit he's getting right now is Stalkers. And NaNiwa is just gonna fake a very quick attack. I'm not sure if he was actually gonna go for it. He's gonna force fields out of duckdeok. Look, he's getting in position to attack here. If you're duckdeok here, you need to split a few of the units. But if you let too many units getting there, the Void Rays are gonna crush you. So he just ends up trapping just a very few Zealots. He loses 2 Stalkers very carelessly here, and this is big. Every unit counts at this point. So he's gonna snipe 2 Zealots, trade them for 2 Stalkers, but behind this his sentries have no energy. 54 army supply against 30 something, and the Void Rays are gonna prove to be too much. I was actually a little bit scared here that at this point the Nexus might be able to tank enough damage for duckdeok to buy time to more Stalkers, but I mean, these Void Rays, they're like the happiest Void Rays ever. This one was pulled back on time, and duckdeok is just gonna die here. He's just gonna tap out as this fight starts. He knows he has no chance. NaNiwa takes the first game of the series here and wins 2-0 behind this. Very, very well played. I was very impressed by the way he went into this game. He had lost twice before to duckdeok, but now he's going to move on to the semifinals against Jaedong. So congratulations to him, and that's it for the analysis. Let's go back over to Paul with some more interesting savior talk, maybe. Take it away, Paul.
Thank you very much, Todd. Fantastic analysis yet again. What a terrific way for our 3rd match to go. It's a European that does advance to the quarter-final. We didn't think it was possible, but NaNiwa has made it 3rd time lucky. He is in to the quarter-final. We'll be back with more very shortly. Don't forget, you can keep interacting with us via social media. #WCS on Twitter and twitter.com/StarCraft. Exactly the same over on Facebook as well. Facebook.com/StarCraft. We'll be back with the 4th and final playoff match. It's another big one. It's Maru versus Scarlet. It's coming next.